This is a photo of a 2017 Freedom Deluxe that I wanted to show prior to all the modifications you're about to witness. Okay, so first let's start with the sink. I installed a 15 by 20 sink 10 inches deep. It also came with this nifty little drying rack. It also has a protective rack that's removable down in the bottom. And then you can see I added a nice one lever faucet. Also came with this cutting board. Another change you can see right now is the backsplash. Took down the hood vent. I changed out our light bulbs for LED bulbs, nice and bright. Cooktop now, as you see in a lot of them, the same type of cooktop with the glass, 2-burner glass, which also has little lights. I guess that's pretty. Might make a good night light at night. Added the flip-up counter, and I'll show. Come on over here, and you can see how the table that I made, it can swing out of the way. I added the receptacle up on top, and then the table can drop down, and we can have our seat for our dining on both sides. All this wood, I bought a butcher block slab, which was 6 feet long, 30 inches wide, and then cut everything out as I wanted, including the table. So that can swing out of the way however we need to. Nice area. And I guess that really, well, I coated this. The cutting board comes this color, but I did have to put oil on it to protect it. Oh, so that kind of completes it. That's where we are today. Thanks for watching. So you've seen the final remodeling. This is to show you some stages of what it went through. Obviously, this is gutting out everything, including the vent hood. I cut a piece of plywood and glued it with epoxy to the inside of the plastic vent that was there, just to block that. Then the very first thing I did was remove the stove top. That makes it easier to get to the screws that are holding the sink down. You can get to them this direction instead of trying to crawl underneath that space to get that sink out. Now, once I had everything gutted, I decided this is a good time to pre-wire and tube up for the gas and the new electric stove. What I did, right now you see this is going to be for the 12 volt that goes to this cooktop. I tapped into the wires that are the 12 volt for the Suburban heater. I was able to find, if you follow this hose, this sheathing, it has the wiring that goes to the furnace, and using the diagram that's on the furnace information, I was able to determine what colors are what, and I just used Positap to tap into the wires, and again, that's what I will be using for the 12 volt. As far as the gas line, if you see down here, this was the existing gas line. Of course, it was over in this area. I bought off of Amazon a gas hose, tapped it into here, so that the other end, once I get the stove in, I'll be able to easily just screw that into the end of the cooktop. The other item I've done is, if you notice right here, I mounted in a piece of plywood, and that's just because I wanted to have some more support for the, what I'm trying to say, the hinges for that extra tabletop extension. So that's just because your fiberglass can be kind of flimsy, you know, it can move around. So I put a backer board in for that, went ahead and did that. While everything is open, I can get to it. The only other thing you haven't seen here is in this area, I will be cutting a relief, and that is for the plug that's on this table. When it swings down, it has a space to go. The wires have a space to go. So that kind of completes where we are today. Okay, the last view you saw was just the demolition of everything that's been removed. Secondly, I had to cut out almost all of the existing top. Then I installed this stick-on backsplash, came from Amazon. The next step was I ended up buying a big 6-foot by 30-inch piece of wood from Amazon. It was actually cheaper than me going to Home Depot and building this myself. It's 1 inch thick. It's like a butcher block. Stained it a special walnut. But anyway, after I made all my cutouts, what you're looking at is I'm gluing it down. I decided to glue it down due to difficulty to try to get in there, and there's not a whole lot of areas to screw into. So I've gone around the entire perimeter where there still was fiberglass, and I have used this 3M marine adhesive sealant, number 5200. It says it's good for fiberglass, including gel coat. Now, I did sand the top of that gel coat just to rough it up some, because that is kind of recommended. It will probably take about 3 or 4 days for this stuff to completely harden up, but that's where we are. And I did also, this is the step that I put this little desktop, or whatever you want to call that, and I added the receptacles plugging into the existing one down below. And you can see what I did is I put some big rubber grommets for the wires to come in and out of, and also as it closes, it allows that what's sticking down to go inside that grommet.